Welcome to the Brothers and Sisters podcast. This is what's coming up next, so stay tuned.
Timing is everything, right? So like things are just happening now, and like this Sunday, Virgin Galactic, they're the flagship company for Spaceport America. So that's where the ship is flying. Our first commercial space tourism, like real commercial. There's been people who flew with the ISS before, but like actual, like this is supposed to be a tourist going up. First flight is happening this Sunday.
On the shady side of the news. Like the Haitian president was like assassinated in his own house like, at night, like with all of his people around that should have been protecting him. 6 people got in, they shot him and they shot his wife too. His wife lived, he did not. As of this point, of course, we're recording July 8th, 2021. It's about 11:30 now, 11:26. I think they've caught all 6 of the people.
Mm-hmm.
28 in the conspiracy. Right.
2 of them have been identified as American citizens. On the site, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's when you think about the history of Haiti, and I gave a little bit of that on this, I obviously written extensively about it when Trump made his "we want people from Norway, not Haiti" comments, and then with the Haitian immigrants and the Dominican Republic many years ago, the DR is like, you got to get out of here, and they're like, yeah, we live right next door, and we let you guys stay here a bunch. Like, what's the deal? Like, it kind of sort of gives you an idea of the history of Haiti. Our guest tonight is of Haitian descent, so he probably can tell even more of the story, but this has all the markings of foreign interference. Now, granted, some background, the Haitian president does not seem like he seems to be your typical strongman kind of guy, right? Like, he wasn't real happy. I think you get a 4-year term as the president of Haiti, right? He wasn't real happy about that. So in year 3, he kind of sort of bullied Parliament, right? He bullied the government, and he's like, yeah, like, I'm going to be president, for longer than the term, longer than the constitutional mandated term. And so it's kind of sort of, on the one hand, it's kind of sort of, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, that kind of thing. If you're a strong man, you got to be prepared to be strong man. But on the other hand, 2 U.S. citizens, like, why are they in a 6-man hit squad for the Haitian president, given the history, the long and pernicious history of Western influence, particularly when talking about Haiti, France, and the U.S. involved in their dealings? Did we have something to do with this?
I said
U.S. Yeah.
First, I'll say that. And yeah, it's way too early to tell if we had something to do with this since this just happened yesterday. And yeah, you're right. Like, just some history about the president, because people say all politicians are corrupt or anything. Like, Haiti has had some serious like president/dictators like Papa Doc and like people like that in the past. Like, this guy was a lot tamer compared to that. Yeah. But there was which is funny because I guess it kind of parallels the U.S. There was a whole, because they had an interim year, he was able to try to say like, oh, I get an extra year as president, and then that would be this year that we're in right now. So there's one way you could see like, oh, maybe that's why people took a hit on him. But then the election was going to be this year, so it's like, if you're going to end, like, it's, why would you do it at the end, right? Yeah. So you could have, and I just got to shout this out. Like a couple of weeks, I went through a 2-week binge of Snowfall. Never seen it before, and like, it tells you what, like, takes place in the 80s, and it's like the Iran Contra Nicaragua thing, and like, there could be something when you find out like there was 2 Americans, and supposedly the people arrested were 4 Colombians and then 2 Haitian Americans, and it's like, oh, what's Colombia doing there? And then it's like, like, we don't, without the U.S. help, it's going to be hard to find out like what actually went down. Because, it's. And all the conspiracies are hitting. Even though I did hear when this happened, just cruising the internet, there was someone who wrote a comment who's like, "Oh, I live 15 miles from there," and then people were saying that it was mercenaries. It was like
that would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense if it was some Eric Prince kind of sort of.
Have you seen the video? The surveillance.
Halliburton mercenaries. There's video of the assassination?
I mean, of them rolling up to the crib.
I was talking about DEA.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
You
it's
saw it, Walter?
Yeah.
It looks like Scarface, like in the black and white when they're rolling up to his crib.
Like that.
People rolling up, like you have SUVs and then people running behind the SUVs. It's like they're going on foot. Yeah, they rolled up to his crib.
Listen, these people were highly trained.
Which doesn't seem like a, it's not like a political thing.
I don't think they were an American hit job, but they were definitely trained by Americans. They were trained by Americans without a doubt.
It was on some next, this video, this isn't just like some gangs on the street breaking in, like, oh, they're mad at their president. This was like, definitely assassination hit, but like, we won't find out what, like, you just know we're not gonna find out. We're not gonna find out the truth about it.
There's been a couple of different theories. I was listening to Al Jazeera and CNN.
Great force.
And they both are like, this could be a drug hit. Like it sounds
like it. It's a point.
Because the dude has been misappropriating, like, what is it, $15 billion they got after the hurricane, because that money's still never been distributed to the people. So the power vacuum left by him not distributing the money made the people rely on the drug dealers. So the drug dealers are the ones that could have potentially made the hit on them. But I don't know.
That's a really good theory. Just because
until it's ironed out.
I mean, but like, you put like the missing piece with the money. Like the money disappeared. That was a good part of the theory, because even when you look at it, it looks like it's a Haiti, and then it's like, it's like Haiti, just a country. It's like a port country. So
I haven't read or seen anything about bodyguards or security being taken out or anything like that. That's why I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
well, they didn't, right? Because when they came in, they were yelling DEA, DEA.
They came up behind them with the fucking chloroform cloth and got everybody.
Really? Is this just?
They broke when they came into the place. They were yelling DEA.
Oh wow!
Even though there's no American DEA in Haiti, right?
Right.
And they were also speaking in Spanish at the door too. So they're speaking Spanish and English versus French. So it's interesting.
The Dominican.
Little conspiracy.
Hispaniola.
Don't say it's Dominican. There's already.
No, I'm just joking.
There's already too much going on between.
The island of Hispaniola has a
You
long.
niggas start standing here and the killer speaking Spanish. That's the first place they go.
That's one island. Haiti and Dominican Republic are on the same island. There's activity between those two countries. And like I said, the fact that, I mean, this is a head of state assassination. That doesn't really happen in like the 21st century.
I know. I have to look that up because I was like, it really doesn't happen like that.
Walter's just telling me, oh man, Suns won by 10. There goes my Bucks in 5. I got Bucks in 6 and Bucks in 7. That's it.
Right.
But like Mackley said, I don't know if we're ever going to get to the bottom of it, especially if, like he and Walter are saying, this is like a mercenary drug situation. Even if it was actually, I don't know if it's better or worse.
To get those 6 people knocked off?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know 2 of them are dead. Are all 6 dead, or are 2 of them dead?
Nah, 6 people died. 6 people died, and then they arrested 6 people.
And there's 28 people involved.
It was mad.
Oh, wow.
It was like a deep, it's a deep
serious.
Oh, that is literally Sosa and Scarface.
Yeah,
Then.
I
Like,
I didn't know it was all like that. Admittedly, I did not read all of the details. I just know.
That's like one of those
crazy.
things.
You see
Yeah,
mad
like
heads
Scarface,
really
like, yo, this nigga is calling you problems. He has.
I just sent you the video.
Like, he
Oh
has
my
to,
Man.
Oh my gosh. You should be able to share the video if you're going to do that.
Oh yeah, true. Let me see if I could.
You want?
But it gets
No.
wild. If
No.
you can't share it, Mackley, I'll add it to the write-up. Because I haven't seen the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, can we watch the video here like this?
We should be able to. You should be able to share it.
You're right. I'm gonna do that.
But I'd like to see this. I had no idea.
Give me permission to share it. You have to give me permission on it.
Damn it, I probably have to do that on my
You can share
laptop. Give me a
screen.
second.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just
I
gonna.
can send you the video in here, and then you can just share it yourself. I'll just put the video in the chat.
Yeah, that'll work. Here it is. Okay, there are the SUVs.
Wow.
Look at them rolling up. Geared up.
Damn. Was he still in bed? He had to wake
Yeah,
up.
he's like still in bed.
Haitian Americans original audio. That's hilarious. That somebody put the assassination on like a screenshot, and like they put music.
They didn't show him getting killed.
No.
This is
Well, if they had
out-
footage of that, that would be remarkable. So
But yeah, people roll deep. They're rolling
roll
deep.
deep with the SUVs and the whole 9 yards.
Like, it doesn't sound like a political thing.
People, that was like at least 20 people.
That was 6 people that got caught, I guess.
Yeah.
6 people that got caught. 7 people that died.
It
It was
sounds
a whole.
So there's about another 10 or so out, dozen or so out.
Yeah.
it sounds weird, but Michael, you and Walter both make me feel better now. This drug connection, like that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. Because
That makes sense.
yeah,
I really didn't want it to be like a damn Joe and Kamala. I was all about you. We still doing these hijinks. Like, I didn't want to have to be like, damn, we still doing it under not my girl. But like now, like the drug thing, not that it makes it any worse, any better, but I'm like, okay. Because once I saw 2 Americans were involved, I was like, did we have something to do with this?
Fuck that. Let me say it.
It's what it is.
Now,
But
they
that's
actually
actually we did.
said Haitian Americans on all the news channels. They didn't say they were Americans. They said they were Haitian Americans.
Oh, of course, you
Yeah.
know that.
Specified.
Make it very clear, because you know what the news anchors meant by that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't
right?
a real American, like you
Right.
know.
Real American. Well, we got a Haitian American on with us right now.
Doc Passe.
Speaking of the devil, what's up, man? Thank you for coming on the podcast tonight.
Thanks. It's been fun.
So, I guess the first question is, we said it, and then you were like, yeah. And then like years later, you're like, yeah. Space law?
Yeah. It's a thing. We were talking about New Mexico before a little. That's what started all of this. When I saw the spaceport in New Mexico, it was like 2000. Like I was in law school. I remember seeing it, and I was like, it looks like the 8th wonder of the world kind of thing. If you like see it at night, and then just snowballed from there. I was like, oh, if there's a spaceport, there must be laws to regulate this. And then I went to the Netherlands, got like
I was gonna say,
yeah,
you got after law school, you got your LLM, and you were in Holland, right?
Yep, at Leiden University at the International Institute of Air and Space Law. It was one of 4 places in the world at the time that they were doing space law. There's more now, but then it was like McGill, Montreal, Nebraska, because they have like the army out there and doing cybersecurity, and Mississippi randomly. And like Mississippi has had like the oldest like space law program. But then, like Mississippi's just, I'm not trying to go down to the south like that. No offense.
Yeah, it sounds like your choices were between Montreal and Holland, man.
Yeah, and like I had missed
no shade for Nebraska or Mississippi, but
I had missed the deadline for Montreal, and it's cold out there. So yeah.
You gotta learn some laws before you learn about space law.
Right.
You're like, I missed the deadline for Montreal, so there it is. And how was the Netherlands, man?
Yeah, the Netherlands is dope. I'd say they're one of the society, like no society's perfect, but they're pretty progressive, minus the whole, they do have like a blackface and Christmas thing. That's
oh, it's just a little bit of racism.
Yeah, that's like the one flag against them.
Negro Black Peter?
Yeah, Black Pete. But they've been trying to address it though. So now they have like blue Pete, green Pete. They have people of different colors. So at least they're doing. At least they're trying though. But
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. But people are really nice there, and English is like they have the highest percentage of non-Europeans that speak English. So it's really American friendly. Yeah, the Netherlands is dope.
So after the Netherlands, Like how did it develop? Because looking at your CV, looking at your bio, boss, there's a ton of shit you've done.
Yeah. I had to grind in it. Like anyone who says like, they're just like a space lawyer like that, like there's no cases, right? There's no actual case. Like there's been 2 cases in the history of space law. And space law, it's not new. It's been around since the 60s because they have the Outer Space Treaty from there. 1967. But like, yeah, space law, you kind of have to do your own thing. I'm just like grinding. So when I hear about people talk about, I feel like I'm a free agent, even though I'm the deputy director of Space Corps. Like that's my team, but I'm also a free agent out there. So I'm just trying to be everywhere in the industry. You literally have to create that space. And my fear in the beginning was because it's such a niche thing. I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm too early on this. Like I've met people at conferences during their 70s because they're like, oh, once I saw Apollo going, when I saw us land on the moon, I was hooked. And they've been trying to do the space law thing for a while, but timing is everything, right? So like things are just happening now. And like this Sunday, Virgin Galactic, they're the flagship company for Spaceport America. So that's where the ship is flying. Our first commercial space tourism, like real commercial. There's been people who flew with the ISS before, but like actual, like this is supposed to be a tourist going up. First flight is happening this Sunday, so that's going to be really dope.
To the moon? What?
No. Just come. No, they're just flying in low of orbit. But yeah, it's just a commercial thing. Yeah,
So
but
not landing anywhere, just going up and
Of the atmosphere and then back
yeah,
in.
and then they're experiencing the weightlessness part, which is supposed to be the big draw. They're gonna see the Earth and everything, so that'd be cool. But about the moon, we are returning back to the moon 2024 for the Artemis program, and like we had Apollo, so Artemis, they keep it consistent, and we're gonna send the first woman to the moon, so that's pretty cool. And we're actually trying to send the first person of color, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
When for the layperson, when you say space law, can you talk about like what that means?
Yeah, it's mostly international law. It's like 98% international law. Like I said, there's the Outer Space Treaty from 1967. Like the 2 biggest takeaways from it is not to weaponize space, like, and specifically not even weaponize, not to militarize space with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
there's loopholes and everything. Like
just drop shit.
Yeah. And like, I don't know if anyone's seen Captain America Winter Soldier, but they had this whole thing with satellites where they're like, they could put your name in a database and the satellite will just like ping you from up top. And it's like,
I don't want that.
But it's not a nuclear weapon, so that's like kind of legal, I guess. And
Another thing, real quick, zap out some people I don't like.
How much are the Virgin tickets? Is it like $250,000 a ticket?
Yeah. Right now it's $250,000, but they're expecting it to go down. I don't know how. Like they want to see it like the way the airplane industry went. It was really expensive. It was for the 1% originally, and then it came down so like everyone could afford it. So that's what they're hoping to go. And then the second takeaway from the Outer Space Treaty is you can't own anything in space, and like no country can own anything in space. And then it makes a loophole now because it's not just countries going there; it's private companies.
Yeah,
these private companies like SpaceX is still, they're registered under U.S. law, so they're still part of our jurisdiction. So even that, but like Elon, like he says some loose things like in the Starlink, in his terms of service.
Shit.
Yeah. In his terms of service, it says something like, all the rules, because even though Starlink was supposed to be the internet for the Earth, it was like all rules here are subject to the rules of SpaceX on Mars as like the supreme ruler of Mars or something like that. Like you can't do that, but the way international law works, which is something I found out when I was in the Netherlands, it doesn't work just by treaty, it works by custom. So if you do something and you set a precedent and people like follow that precedent, it becomes a strong thing of law. It doesn't have to be written down. Then people can write it after. That's probably
I was going to say that sounds like a business concept. He's trying to first mover advantage, right? If he's the first person in there to do this, like, and people are like, this seems to be okay. Then all of a sudden, that's how it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I am me.
Right? Exactly.
And like the UN doesn't have any like power to stop it, right? Like the UN doesn't have a military. So when your money's that long, it's like who's gonna stop you? But still, space laws is important for that. So they could try to put some checks on them.
What does the Space Court Foundation do?
So we're a 501c3, and we're all about just promoting access of space law to everybody. Because when you think of just the space industry, people think of the big powers, right? Like U.S., China, Russia. But there's a lot of smaller countries that are coming out with their own space programs. Like I know people from Nepal that have set something up. I'm doing work with the Caribbean. We're trying to actually set up a Caribbean space agency. So people need to know there's more law outside. There's 5 main space treaties, but each country has like national laws. So we're trying to just like make people aware of that. And we also do panels out, something that I'm real proud of. We started a Woman of Color in space interview series. So every month we just come out and just, trying to highlight somebody who's been killing it in the industry, because women of color never get that light. So, and we're also coming out with an animated show on the 20th called Stellar Decisis. It's basically Law and Order meets space. It's really Law and Order. So yeah, check that out.
Okay.
Where can we
We're premiering it on YouTube. You can follow our subscribe to our page, Space Corps Foundation.
Did you put that in the bio? Because all that goes in the write-up.
Oh no. I'll send it to you after.
Yeah, for sure. Because obviously you want to promote that. Mm-hmm. What do you want people to know? Like, what should our audience is going to be? Mostly people of color, but generally, even for those beyond, what do you want people to know about space law, the International Space Foundation, the future of this? Like, it seems like it's very real. You were talking about owning SpaceX from jump, and now obviously it's bigger. Like, what should people know?
In space stocks. Like the Outer Space Treaty was pretty like, even though it came out in the 60s and there wasn't that much going on, it was pretty advanced as far as like the spirit of it. So like the main spirit is that space is for the benefit of all humankind. Of course it says mankind in there, but like we're past that. It's all humankind now. So that like spirit needs to be kept. It's just and people will think, because you don't want something to happen, like you don't want a colonization 2.0 happening on the moon or in space. We need to like make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes.
Then why are we letting never mind.
No, ask what we're gonna say.
No, I was gonna say, I just wondered this,
the old billionaire white man.
Yeah. If you want to avoid colonization, why allow a colonizer?
They're not asking for permission. Their money long and straight.
Yeah.
It's because their money's long, and then people think, like, there's no such thing as like a good billionaire. That's like impossible to be in.
I don't know.
Like, and I'm saying, is it? Yeah. Like,
I don't know. I think that it's possible.
Oprah?
I don't know billionaires though. I don't know a lot of billionaires.
Oprah's a decent.
Or any.
Michael Jordan.
Michael
Jordan. Yeah. No, I mean Oprah's a billionaire, right?
Michael Jordan. He did. It wasn't necessarily business acumen. He built that shit up from legacy through basketball and shit.
He's made way more money post basketball.
Yeah, it's not like the old saying, like behind every great wealth is a great crime or some shit. Not with Mike. It's just,
people would say Jordans cost pennies to make, right? And he sells them for hundreds of dollars. Some would say that's exploitation.
That's true.
Right.
Point.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us in some way are guilty of.
Oh yeah.
Something.
We talked about that with Naeem, right? That's part of it, right? We're all part of it in some way.
Yeah, so
to recognize how much.
Maybe probably intent is maybe where we start looking at whether or not.
Exactly, intent, and it's something that I've been getting put up on is the way we talk about space. So like, and this might be from like my CUNY background, but it's also like there was this incredible Dr. Natalie Trevino. She went on this whole thing about like, you don't call it like, we can't say colonizing space. Like, we're migrating to space, things like that. Don't say you're setting up settlements, because settlement has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Like, you can say cities and things. And even calling space a final frontier has like a negative connotation, right? Like, it's all about the way we talk about it. That's why I like to say the Outer Space Treaty says all mankind. Just say all of humankind. Like there's a way, like this is happening, like we're in it. We're in history as it's happening. So we're able to actually have a direct influence on it.
Yeah, I see. We aren't agnowledging it, but we're not denying UFOs, right? I saw they had
Okay.
the government
I was gonna
like,
ask.
yeah, we're not gonna
I was definitely that was in my brain, like the space law.
Yeah, what happens when we run into the Romulans?
Or what does how does space law address beings that are not human?
Well, it's funny because I'm writing like a paper on this, but international space law, it doesn't have anything for it, but there is like organizations like SETI, and they have guidelines for like planetary protection, and it's more so if we go somewhere and we contaminate a place, it doesn't really work about with them coming over here. So that's.
I would assume they would have to adhere to our laws, right?
It depends on how big and bad they are.
Okay, any being that is not human is probably far more advanced than we could ever be. So our laws.
You mean not human and has the capability to travel and land here is probably more.
Yeah, but they could land here. They don't want to because this is the projects of the.
This is the project of the galaxy.
They drive by and roll up their window, and they go past Earth.
Like Cherry Hill. Just like Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill of the galaxy.
Wow, I've only heard of Cherry Hill. I'm not familiar with the area.
Mac, you said something the other day on social media unrelated to space law, but I wanted you to expand on it because you didn't. Like you said, you're like house music is black music or techno music is black music. You said one of the two. What did you mean by that? And can you go further into that?
Yeah. Autumn knows what I'm talking about. They're both outside of space, I'm like really passionate about like house music.
That's why I wanted to get to it.
Like, which is different than EDM, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, house music, birthplace of house music is in Chicago. Okay, and that happened with the black and queer community. And birthplace of techno is Detroit. People try to say Berlin was doing like some electronic thing, but they weren't doing techno. And techno was like about it has more of a political statement in too, such as house, but because of if you know the city of Detroit and everything they've been through with like bankruptcy and just like being like a downtrodden city. So that's where techno comes from, which makes it started by like techno was started by the Belleville Three, which are three dudes in high school, like three black dudes from Detroit, from like the inner city part of Detroit called Belleville. And yeah, it's black music. But the way, like, I remember growing up, me personally, I had no idea. Like, I'm in high school, you're under the assumption that it's like white music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad how that happens. It got like not commercialized and like bastardized in a way, like they make it anti-black, and like and people need to remember the roots of the music. And like you go to places like there's a beast where like it's $50 for a water. I went to an amazing party last weekend. It was with DJ Kerry Chandler, House DJ of the Year. He's from New Jersey, black DJ, $10. Amazing. It was from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Crazy party.
Oh, they're going over there.
Like,
go see Calvin Harris at Hackathon, and it's $150 to get in.
Wait, what is in Vegas?
Yeah,
that's loose. Like it doesn't, but like that's capitalism. Loose, also capital, but like, yeah.
I had you just taught me something. I had no idea techno music started in Detroit.
Yeah,
by black people.
Yeah.
I kind of you hear about Chicago house. I didn't know house music started there, but I've heard of Chicago house music before. I didn't know that it was started there by black people.
Yeah. And like, but the thing is, people have heard of Chicago, but techno specifically because they really try to like pin that like it's like a white genre of music, but it's not. And like there's great artists like Robert Hood. He's also a pastor from Detroit. Jeff Mills. He's Eminem has shouted out Jeff Mills because he's a Detroit DJ. He's like, if you just knew Detroit, like you don't even have to be Eminem, who also said nobody listens to techno, would have had to have listened to techno from being from Detroit. Like tongue in cheek. Kevin Saunderson, Juan Atkins. Yeah, there's a lot of great, like, of the forefathers of techno are black, and there's people bringing it up. There's this woman, Ashley Lauren. She has this podcast, Underground and Black, and she reps. She's from Atlanta, but she reps Detroit. She's like Atlanta by way of Detroit. Really great artist. It's starting to become like the roots are coming back more into it, which I'm happy to see.
Brother, we pride ourselves on displaying the depth and breadth of Black excellence. Talking to a space lawyer with a deep knowledge of house and techno music
Respect.
probably fits within that realm for sure.
Thanks for having me,
sir. I appreciate it. Now that you're back in NY, I'll be up there, so I'll be hollering at you. I'm actually up there next week, so I'll
nice.
holler at you for sure. Mackley Carroll, Deputy Director of the Space Corps Foundation, and music, house, and techno connoisseur.
Thanks, brothers and sisters. It's been
all right. I'm gonna stop recording.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.